Mike.
This is Michael LoveJoi here in the Love Zone once again with the urban entrepreneur, Mr. Daryl Scott. We previously talked about education. We talked about Atlantic City. We talked about models. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about precious metals. Now we want to talk about the effect of the potential fallout of a cashless society, as you say, that's going to come into fruition in any day now.
That's affirmative, Brother Michael. I can't put a dateline on when the Federal Reserve, in conjunction with the U.S. government or global money power, will say that we're going cashless, but it's going to affect a lot of people in this way. Most every transaction will be able to be calculated, and the reason why is when I was talking about Q&E. Quantitative easing, they're unable to get America back on track past 1 or 2% growth because of it's a lot of underground money. So you go cashless, every transaction is accountable, and that is the way they figure they'll get more money into their coffers, which is their tax base. So that's going to affect a lot of people because you have a lot of people that are unemployed. They're barely making it. You have the price of gas going towards $3.50 for regular, and the economy at this particular point cannot take $3.50, $4 regular gas.
Yes, sir.
You have too many people in this area alone that the casino is not really employing.
Yes,
and this
sir.
is the main catalyst for South Jersey.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you this, Daryl. You are a veteran, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
What branch of the military did you serve?
Air Force, 11 years.
How high? What was your rank, sir?
E5, Staff Sergeant.
Staff sergeant.
Yeah.
Well, did you travel around the world? Did you get a chance to see the world as it was and what it was going through at the time as being a military man?
Well, I had an inside view of the military because I was in a air defense special unit, Stinger missile. Stinger missile is the missile system that ran the Russians out of Afghanistan. Okay, the Mujahideen, they trained at Fort Bliss when I trained there. And they had a very accurate rate of like 2 to 3 planes a day. And CIA gave them the weapon system. And they did a heck of a job of defending Afghanistan and running the Russians out of there. So I had an inside view of how this whole thing started with Desert Storm to this operation, Iraqi Freedom, all this. I was in Turkey when all this stuff started in an operation called Provide Comfort. All this has been a big build up to the Iraqi war.
Yes, sir.
So I had an inside view.
So now that we've gone through these various conflicts, and according to this book by Mr. John Blair,
Okay.
The Control of Oil, what was the basis of all of these conflicts, and what was the intent
All right.
of the conflict, sir?
Okay. The content of
The intent.
intent.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for correcting me. The intent of Iraqi Freedom 2003 was to control the oil flow of the Iraqi people. Iraq is in the top 5. I don't know where they fit in, but Iraq is in the top 5 of oil producing nations. Okay? The Afghanistan part came in because they wanted not only to control the opium, but they wanted to start a new hybrid form of marijuana. Now you see that the U.S. government now in 2 states has taken the marijuana and said Colorado and what's the other state? Oregon, that marijuana is first it was for medicine,
Yes.
municipal, and now you just combine it. So most of that marijuana is going to be coming from Afghanistan, which is a high level of hybrid marijuana.
So you're saying that, they're going to be flying high further than you've been able to fly with Acapulco Gold or something like that?
Well, the key thing is that, a lot of us have been tricked into using drugs.
Yes, sir.
But the reality of it, the biggest drug dealers are the U.S. government and the pharmaceutical companies and prescription drugs that doctors write scripts on. That's the street drugs are almost out of it now.
Yes, sir. Well, according to this book by John Blair, The Control of Oil, he echoes exactly what you said. I just wanted to verify, if you don't mind. Do you
Sure,
mind?
go ahead.
Do you know John Blair?
I have heard of him, but I'm not familiar with that book.
Yes, sir. It says here, for the foreseeable future, the control of the movement of oil in the world will hinge largely on control in the Middle East. Principally Saudi Arabia, Iran, Kuwait, and Iraq. You were dead on. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You left one nation now. One nation, it's two nations that have the best, what they call light, sweet crude.
That's Muammar Gaddafi when he was.
Nope. Nigeria. See all that problem that Nigeria has?
Yes, sir.
That's fabricated. Nigeria and Saudi Arabia, you can take the light, sweet crude out of the ground and almost put it in a car.
Right.
So those are the two nations that the globalists have to control. Nigeria, matter of fact, all their oil is Dutch, on Royal Dutch Shell. Okay, they control that. And Saudi Arabia, of course, is controlled by maybe a lot of different foreign powers. I couldn't just narrow down to one.
I want my LoveJoi Nation and TTSO family to understand that, what we aim to do here at the Love Zone is to give information so that people will be able to set themselves free from all of the things that provide impediments in their path. And a lack of knowledge certainly is an impediment. Now, Mr. Scott here is one of the brothers that's around in the area, but he's a very, very knowledgeable brother. And I just verified the information with John Blair with what he says. So he has credibility. But a lot of us have a problem with accepting information from another black man.
So true, Brother Michael. What has to happen is that everything I said, and me and Brother Michael have discussed this before, that if I can't give you an accurate answer, I'm going to go find it. I'm not going to say anything that's not accurate because it may hurt somebody and it may misinform them.
Absolutely.
So it's a twofold thing. But I am happy that you asked me to come on your show and talk about things that can inform other black people, because we are the top consumers, but we're the most misinformed people on the United States soil, far as what we can actually do and our strengths.
Absolutely.
We know our weaknesses, but we don't come in contact with our strengths.
Yes, sir.
And our strengths is information.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, we just had a recent mayoral election.
Yes, sir.
Lorenzo Langford was voted out.
Yes, sir.
And the new mayor, Mr. Don Guardian, was put in.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me a little bit about the dynamic in reference to the changeover in Atlantic City? Because certainly there is a changeover going on in reference to the shift in power and the power base.
Okay. Very good question, because you're here and you can see it. I don't know the current mayor, but I was informed that he worked for a special improvement district.
Yes.
Okay, which falls under the CRDA. From what I'm seeing, far as the renovation and the small improvements being made, that he seems to have an open checkbook of trying to get the city ready for May 30th when the summer season starts. Now, the dynamics here was that here was a guy that had the full backing of the CRDA, when you had another guy, Lorenzo Langford, who didn't have the full backing of the CRDA.
Well, how did that dynamic play out? Because Mayor Langford, of course, is the how would I say, the wonder child that came up through the ranks of Atlantic City and was voted mayor for what, 8 years?
He had 2 terms.
He had 2 terms, and no one could defeat him. But what happened in this dynamic that he could be defeated so soundly?
Okay. Very, very. I like how you put that. One guy had the full backing of the casino industry, and the other individual did not have the backing of the casino industry. It was plain and simple. So the guy, Mayor Langford, the former Mayor Langford, who didn't have the backing of the casino industry, wasn't able to fall back on a black business community that could help him sustain his mayoral run. So he didn't have the financial backing or the business backing where the current mayor, Don Guardian, had the full blessing of the CRDA and the 11 casinos. Very, very easy mathematics.
Easy mathematics, and everything is mathematics. Now, I need to know this. The financial plight that they're saying that the city is in. Is it something that we should look at and perhaps blame part of that or all of that on the former mayor? Or on past administrations that just passed the buck down the line?
Very good question again. Well, what happens is you have to understand when you're dealing in big business. Let me give you an example. Mayor Whalen was well versed in giving that dump land to the Regatta, and they developed it. Okay? He gave it to them for $1, but they developed it and they hired 1,500, 2,000 people. When you're going for big projects, you usually have a project manager and you have good advisors. I think that the mayor, Langford, was being advised towards the end of his mayor term, but Shaq O'Neal turned his back on him. He went to the governor and asked him, could he go around Mayor Langford and get that land to develop it, where Mayor Langford is the one who brought him here. But he didn't have the call to say, okay, you develop that land and we give you tax abatements. See, it's a lot of stuff that you have to know when you're going for big stuff. If I bring some investors in, the main thing they want to know about getting started up is what kind of 10-year, 5-year tax abatements am I going to get if I throw $25 million into your city? And I think that's where Mayor Guardian is covered through the CRDA and the casinos of covering all those bases, and Mayor Langford didn't have that counseling or advisory committee to give him the same insight of how to get people to come here to make money.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's getting a call from the CRDA asking him, why did you say that?
Okay.
Let me ask you another question, Daryl. Now, seeing that we have this dynamic at play here in Atlantic City,
Right.
we have everybody that wants to come and get in on the bandwagon to invest, to bring businesses here. Is Atlantic City a viable option at this particular point in time for investors to come to? Is it an also-ran, or is it the horizon for Atlantic City is still bright?
Very good question again, Brother Michael. Atlantic City is a very good investment for people that can see that this area, it may look blighted, but it's not. You have a boardwalk, you have a beach, and you have a casino industry. Out of the 36 years, May 26, that casino gambling's been in Atlantic City, and they haven't created one black millionaire. The only black man I ever known to have a business inside the casino was Ralph Hunter, and he had it for 20 years, Mr. Hunter.
What kind of business was that, sir?
He had a business where he sold like jade, wood, carvings.
Yes, sir. Yes,
He had that type of business. And it was very profitable.
Yes, sir.
And he's a smart businessman.
Yes, sir.
But there's plenty of room here to make money, but you have to be able to see it long term, like Shaq O'Neal did. on that plot of land at New Jersey and Atlantic Avenue, what they call Parlene's Prairie, which the state, I found out, owned it. So Mayor Langford couldn't make the call because it wasn't his to give away. So that's where Shaq went around to the governor, and the governor said, okay, yeah, go ahead. We'll give you some tax abatements if you develop the land. So it's all about, you got to be understanding the insight of how these dynamics work when it comes to big business.
Yes,
and I
sir.
think that's what happened in Mayor Langford's case.
Absolutely.
His advisory council wasn't versed in that.
Yes, sir.
But Atlantic City, back to the main, is a good place to invest.
Now, in all fairness,
Yes.
we're talking about people here, and we're discussing their particular policy and their public life.
Right.
Now, I want to give the Honorable Mayor Langford an opportunity to come to the Love Zone and answer to the particular statements that have been made previously and today. Marty Small, you're welcome to come here too. And Speedy Marsh. We want to have all of the notables who have been in power in Atlantic City for the last 10 to 12 years, so that they can have an opportunity to give the people their view or their point of why they do what they do and why they did what they did. Okay? We want to give them an opportunity. Also,
That's fair enough.
one more thing, sir. Let me
Yes,
ask you
sir.
this. We're going to wrap it up here in the Love Zone here because we got somewhere to go. Now, you have studied that dynamic about finance.
Yes, sir.
In the end here, as we were saying, you're saying that London Bridge is falling down.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is tumbling and everything is coming back to the front now. What can we do to avoid the fallout, the hurt, the harm, the danger of the falling of the American economy?
Well, first of all, information is the key.
Information, yes, sir.
Information is the key. Okay. Now, you got to have some kind of spirituality too, because basically you just can't believe in man. Okay? Third, we have to aggregate our resources. If I know something, I can't be, I'm not going to tell anybody, or I'm not going to show anybody. And fourth, it may get to the point where you may have to arm up. You may have to arm up. So you have a dynamic out there now that is trying to get black people in that old way we used to be, so they can haul us off to concentration camps and chains and things of that nature. Now, to substantiate what I'm saying is you have Clive Bundy in Nevada, the grazer. He had 500 cattle on government land, and the government backed down because his patriot militia movement stood toe-to-toe with armed weapons against the government. No black man could do that. It's just not going to happen. Then you have a congressman in the House of Congress says that all black people are just, subsidized people, and they just want to be in a welfare state of mind. And that's not true because of just the numbers alone. Black people only make up 13% of the population, where white people make up 72%. So we know there's more white folks subsidized than black people.
Yes, sir.
And then the third one was Don Sterling, who told his girlfriend he doesn't want to have anything to do with black people. Whether, you're making me look bad or whatever. So the underlying thing that I'm getting to is that they're trying to draw black people into this state of something got to be done, whether it's physical, but we're just talking. We're not trying to buy a basketball team. We're not trying to say we have to circle our wagons and do things in a collective way. So somebody's pushing us to do something, but we don't seem to be getting it. I mean, the NAACP, that was a travesty, that they were taking money from a guy who, a basketball Hall of Famer, already said the man was a racist, Elgin Baylor. So, like I started off, we have to get our people informed of what's really happening to us in a institutionalized way. We don't seem to grasp that we're being led down a road that is nothing there for us.
Absolutely, and I agree with you 100%. Daryl Scott, the urban entrepreneur. Well, Daryl, we got some way to go. Thank you for coming down to the Love Zone, Daryl. Thank you so much, my brother. And listen here, I want to invite all of you to tune in next time because we're going to have Daryl back. We're going to have Steve Young back, and we're going to hold a summit so that we can have a coming together of minds. This is Michael LoveJoi here in the Love Zone at 28 Old Turnpike Road in Pleasantville, New Jersey, TTS Soul Studios, and I want to bid you in parting as we always do. If you drink, don't drive, and if you drive, don't drink, because the life you save may be your own. Later.